Hey, quick question. Have you ever walked by a really nice house and wondered, wow, I could never live here? I get that feeling too. I actually walked by one a few days ago, and right when I crossed by, the sprinkler system turned on and splashed me, literally rejecting me from that place. Yeah, but real talk though, it's not just in your head. There's an actual system behind it. I know, crazy. And that's gonna be today's subject: relationship of economic and social inequality and its relation to housing access, and why it's more about what you actually look like and less about your qualifications.
Now, let's talk about who this video is for. Well, this video is for college students looking for their first house. All ages, all races, all income levels. This is also for anyone selling a house or is in the position to accept a bid for a house, like a landlord, etc. You may not even know it, but unconsciously, this type of discrimination can be made. If you ever had a landlord ghost you after seeing your name on an application, congrats, this video is for you. Actually, it's especially for you. And anyone who has been on the wrong side of the equation, it is also for you. Your experience is backed by science, unfortunately. So before we actually get into the research of it, we gotta get into a little background info, because this problem didn't just come out of nowhere. The whole history behind it. Economic inequality basically means that wealth, resources, and opportunities are not distributed equally across society. And in the United States, the inequality has always had some sort of racial dimension towards it. It's not a coincidence, it's literally built into our policies. And for decades, the federal government supported a practice called redlining, where entire neighborhoods were color-coded on maps based on their racial composition. And the neighborhoods with a lot of ethnic groups tend to be marked as hazardous or for investment. Banks use those maps to deny mortgages, developers use them to decide where to build, where to build them, and what to build in them. As a result, entire communities were systematically cut off from wealth-building opportunities that home ownership provide. Now here's the kicker. When redlining was actually stopped, did the neighborhoods suddenly change? No, they're still there. The wealth gaps caused, they're still very much there. Which brings us to the social psychology of it all. Because the policy stuff explains structure, but the psychology explains why individual people keep the machines running, often without even realizing it. Let's talk about our two topics. We have two topics that we're taking from the class via the NOVA textbook. First up, we have prejudice/discrimination. We know prejudice is the attitude, discrimination is the action. You can be prejudiced without even saying anything. All you have to do is, let's say, not call someone back. Systemic racism is racism that is built into the laws, policies, and institutions of a society, and not just individual attitude. It doesn't require anyone to be consciously hateful, it just requires a system to keep running the way it's designed to run. In the United States, a lot of those systems were literally designed with racial inclusion in mind. Think about it this way. A landlord doesn't have to be a racist person to produce racist outcomes. They just have to use a credit scoring algorithm that was built on data shaped by decades of discriminatory lending. And the bias isn't in the person, it's in the process. Now let's get into the actual research. First, we have a study from Bertrand and Mulientier. I cannot pronounce that name, but I'm gonna go with that. In 2004, researchers sent out thousands of identical resumes, same qualifications, but with either stereotypical white-sounding names like Emily and Greg, or black-sounding names like Lakeisha and Jamal. And the study showed that the white names got 50% more callbacks. Remember, exact same resume, only difference is the name. Different result. This dynamic applies directly to housing applicants. Our second study is from Steele and Aronson in 1995, and here's how systemic racism gets into people's heads too. In the Landmark study, black college students performed significantly worse on standardized tests when race was made silent before the test, even when they were equally qualified as their white peers. When race wasn't mentioned, the performance gap completely vanished. The stereotype itself, the ability to know preparation, was the variable. This is called stereotyping threat, and it shows how a system built on racial inequality doesn't affect policies. It gets inside people and affects how they perform under pressure. Imagine carrying that into every housing application, every showing, every interaction, the landlord who's already judging you before you even walk in that door. Our next two studies, Hudson, Dovito, and Gardner in 2002, researchers found that people rationalize discrimination by selectively interpreting conflicting information. When a black applicant had mixed credentials, participants found reasons to discount the positives and emphasize the negatives, while doing the exact opposite for white applicants. They weren't lying, they genuinely believed they were being fair. And that's what makes this so dangerous. And finally, a study by Rosen, Garbodin, and Kozlan in 2021, and this is where it gets really interesting, and honestly kind of wild. Researchers interviewed 157 landlords across 4 major US cities and found that 2 main ways of discriminating happen in housing. The first is through algorithms, software that screens tenants based on credit scores, eviction history, and criminal background. Sounds neutral, right? Except those factors were all heavily correlated with race due to historical inequality. So the algorithm isn't racist, it just produces racist outcomes. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, families with lower incomes are pushed into neighborhoods with underfunded schools, higher pollution, and less access to fresh food. And this creates kind of a ripple effect. Kids in unstable housing perform worse in academics, they experience more mental health challenges, and are more likely to experience poverty as adults. And stable, safe housing is something that everyone should have access to. It doesn't matter where you are, where your background is, what you look like, where you come from. Everyone deserves it. It's not idealism, it's just basics. And if sprinkles do turn on if you walk past the house, it's just the weather. Don't let the system gaslight you. Also, here are all the sources that I used. I'll put them all in the description, and thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.